Our worlds are in danger. To save them and the galaxy, we must find the 4 cyber planet keys before the Decepticons can use them for evil. It is our mission. Hotshot, Jetfire, Vector Prime, Landmine, Scattershot, Optimus Prime, transform and roll out. Transformers, Autobots, Decepticons. Transformers, robots in disguise. Transformers. The Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons.
God, that theme song is so good. Almost as good as Beast Wars. But if you couldn't tell, the other toy in that GameStop box was this guy. Legacy United Cybertron Starscream. Also known as Galaxy Force in Japan. The end of the Unicron trilogy. And some of the best designs they put out before the movies. So look at this lanky jet jerk. Like, that face says it all, doesn't it? Although the purple eyes are kind of hard to see. They are there. They're a very nice touch to this very Cybertronified Starscream. Did I just make up a word? I don't know, but I really like this toy. Besides the head, look at how much detail is on him. Like, that's a hallmark of Galaxy Force. Like, just tons of detail everywhere. Way even before Siege started to do that. Like, it's almost as if nothing in Transformers is ever new. Like, I like his proportions, the long legs, kind of skinny as well. He is a bit skinny, but he makes it work. What makes this Starscream different than the G1 Starscream is not only does he have the power to take on Megatron with none of the cowardice, he also has the just balls to take on Cybertron itself, aka Primus, who's essentially God. Cybertronian God. Also turned himself into the planet for whatever reason. I don't remember much of Cybertron. I remember it more than Energon and Armada, but that was before I did a complete rewatch of Armada. One day, I'll rewatch Cybertron. This design is just really cool. It is the classical Starscream red, gray, and blue, but I like the darker tones of the gray and the blue. Like, this deep dark blue is very appealing. And barely any kibble, just a tiny amount, like just brought to the absolute minimum. But doesn't he look kind of naked? Like he's missing things? Well, that brings us to accessories. You get a pair of these, which are his wings. Just, well, take everything I was saying about lack of kibble and just chuck it out the space bridge. You also get another pair of wings. They go right here and look absolutely unnecessary. Like, look how far out the back they stick. Oh, this is their jet mode configuration. For robot mode, they sit down here, which doesn't look any better, really. accessory-wise, we actually do have a weapon. This long purple gun, which is made out of translucent plastic, and it's not my favorite. It plugs into his hand, which is alright. Kind of looks Cybertronian enough, like a bit of that too much detail kind of thing. It fits in. But you also, for the first time in the Generations line, have a cyber key. And I must make that distinction. They are cyber keys, not cyber planet keys. Like the intro stated, the cyber planet keys are only one to each planet. Each one the Transformer uses is just referred to as a cyber key. And while this isn't any particular planet, it's kind of the generic purple Decepticon one, it's still really nice to actually have a cyber key. And before this, I forgot to get up and get one of my original cyber keys, so there we go. Yeah, there's one of the other Decepticon keys. And wow, talk about downscaling. Can you see it? Yeah. Although somebody did point out that this is a lot more in scale to how they actually looked in the show. Like, this is better to scale. We can use it. We actually have a cyber key port. I couldn't do it justice. Let's roll the footage.
We'll see about that! Cyber Key Power! How do you like me now?
Because you plug it in, and unfortunately nothing's spring-loaded, but if they were, you would flip down these two purple blades. I feel like this Starscream takes after the Armada version. But let's say, shouldn't these arm blades, in true Baraka fashion, be way longer? Well, thanks to the modularity of Legacy United, you can plug them into his forearm, and that looks a lot better. Now he's got proper arm swords to hack at Autobots. You could, I guess, not really. Sort of plug them into his hand, because they do have barrels on these chunks that are blast effect compatible. So that's all fun and good. But now let's talk actually about articulation. And that was Cybertron's biggest up point, was just how much articulation it had compared to the rest of the Unicron trilogy, except for Starscream, because his original toy was limited in one specific place. But the neck is not limited. It can't go up any further, which feels like he's not actually looking straight. Kind of feels like he's looking down all the time, but I guess he's looking straight forward. He can not really. Okay, this neck ball joint's kind of limited. You can rotate, but that's about it. The shoulders go all the way around. They look like they can only go that far. And if they could only go that far, that would be very unfortunate. However, they thought about that. Let's do it even with the wing attached right up top. they thought about that. The shoulder pad gets out of the way to allow full shoulder range. That is so nice. You can even go back in or just sit down there, depending on how you prefer. You even have a butterfly joint, which is not in any way used in the transformation, purely for robot mode. You get the shoulder pad out of the way, you get a little bit more of the butterfly action. I really like that. You have a double jointed elbow. Affords you a full, tight curl. That's very nice. You get a wrist swivel, which does kind of start the transformation. You can wrist swivel. The waist. That's what it's all been leading up to. Because the original toy had such a massive cockpit that it nullified a waist joint. This guy, while having said cockpit, also looking like it would hinder the waist, you have a waist. Mind you, it's not actually the cockpit this time hindering it. Take a shot every time I say cockpit. But it's the backpack, which you can untransform a bit to get full waist swivelage. That's awesome. Hips. Need I say more? Go back all the way. They can go the full Van Damme, which just looking at this design, it would be incredibly weird if they couldn't do that. The thighs. I'll stop. The knee. It does lock kind of straight, but you can get beyond 90 degrees. Very nice. And it does. You can bend it a bit forward. And the foot is on hinges upon hinges with a very deep pivot. So you can go short or you can go as tall as you want. And he hopefully won't fall down. Yep. You can just see him there. He's standing on his tiptoes, basically. But you can go all the way down. You go that far up. Great foot joint. I do wish it was down here, the hinge, as opposed to all the way up there, because I don't really want that moving with it. You know, you can't win them all. Neither can Starscream, because he ended up losing. Let's compare him with every other Starscream I can find in the vicinity. Siege. They're both vaguely Cybertronian Starscreams. Not vaguely, incredibly Cybertronian. War for Cybertron. Let me know if you want to see a Gamer Edition War for Cybertron Starscream review, because there is one, and I think they're doing a Skywarp as well. Speaking of the legend, just because I can, if they're not going to do Armada Skywarp, please, I'm kind of spoiling the end early, but please do multiple versions of this figure. Please do Skywarp, Dirge, whoever you can think of. Please. Earthrise Starscream, the blandest of the Starscreams. Yeah, I said what I said. Let's go for other Cybertron toys. Vector Prime. Did you see the reveals of Legacy United Vector Prime and Cybertron Hotshot. I'm looking forward to those. I could not tell what that Vector Prime was a remold of for a good few minutes until I saw somebody mention G-Axis. I was like, oh yeah, that is G-Axis, especially in the legs. And Cybertron itself, which was backwards. Here he is with Armada Starscream. Will we get Energon to complete the trio? Who knows? Here he is with Primus. That blue has not aged well, apparently. Which is odd, considering he's in planet mode the whole time. And, jet mode, I guess. You can also store the cyber key on his gun. That's a nice option if you think you're going to lose it. Or you can just leave it on the robot. Now to transform Starscream, start by folding these up, tabbing them in. We're going to come to the arms and fold the hands in, which, interesting enough, is the exact same bicep opening, hand rotating as Siege Starscream, just without sucking in the elbow. Same thing on the other side. Rotate up, fold it in. Now we're going to bring the shoulder pad like that and unhook the arm the other way. I'm doing it wrong. Bring it like that. Rotate at the top and use the double joints. Peg it into his side. Rotate up, fold down, rotate, bend, plug it in. Now we can take the back, untab it, and flip down his head. And that's a major improvement over the original, which, if you know, was the king of visible head syndrome. Which reminds me, this toy needs a crown. Inevitable repaints. Please give us a crown as an accessory to give to Starscream. Now we bring the, unfortunately, the most awkward point is you have to unhook the, that's frightening. To unhook that, which I did to show off the waist swivel. And bring that up. This is all easier to do with the kibble removed. You could leave the wings on, but they just kind of get in the way of what we're going to do next, which is come to the legs, unhinge that piece, unhinge. I'm unhinged. Are you unhinged? Fold out this from under his foot, fold this piece back. We're going to fold that in, and we're going to bring it up. And this little tab, you can kind of see right above my fingernail, is going to tab in to a slot in the kneecap. And lock that into place. Meanwhile, the foot is going to tab in right under the cockpit. Oh, no. Actually, we want this piece out front. I had it reversed. It's going to tab in right there and lock in right there. We're going to do the same thing for the other side. Rotate, flip, We'll bring it around. And make sure everything's nice and locked in place. The two sides are going to tab together and just kind of smush them if you need to. Make sure everything. There we go. There we go. And now we'll bring in the accessories. So take these wings. Sometimes I use the blade to actually remember which side the wing goes on, because you want the blade kind of facing that way, in my opinion. That's how they look. And fold out the tiniest little wing. The same thing on the other side. Pull them out. And this is completely optional. But you can take the gun, because there are no other pegs and ports on the vehicle mode besides like this one, which you could use as weapon storage. Doesn't really, it's decent storage, but the gun just juts out completely. Or the ones kind of here. But the way they show you instructions is to make sure you have the legs as close as you can, because the gun is going to tab in right in there, and these pieces are going to close in around it. That is really nice storage. It's kind of barely noticeable, but it still is part of the vehicle mode. And this is a very nice vehicle mode. It is a attempt to do the classic Seeker Tetrajet, which I have to bring up, was only in one scene of one episode. The very first Cybertron scene in G1 before they crash onto Earth. And many years and different companies, and even Hasbro themselves multiple times, have tried to recreate basically this. There are a lot of differences, but there are quite a few similarities in these two Cybertronian jet modes. How about another Cybertronian jet mode? Starscream. Meet Starscream. Here's a different jet from the same line. You know what I mean. G1 Starscream, the classic F-15 Eagle. I've already shown off Cybertron, but I also forgot to transform Armada Starscream. Here he is with Armada Starscream. And Cybertron once again. Little Big Planet? Best I got. This jet mode, I'm not sure how it would fly with these tiny wings and no conceivable means of propulsion on its back. Nothing that looks like a thruster or anything. Maybe these two shoulder pads are thrusters, who knows. But the real big advancement engineering wise is actually hiding away the head. which I have to bring up again because I'm glad they actually did it. So cute, these tiny little guns right here. I do wish they had a hinge because I kind of want to flip them out in robot mode. I thought they did because there's the pin I can see, but that's the hinge for the waist. We could still flip out the swords if you want melee weapons on an airplane, or I guess it's not an airplane, but same idea. If you want melee weapons on something that flies and tries to stab the sound barrier, these chunks also have guns on them, as they ought to, because he needs more guns. You got 2, 4, fifth one. I don't know. The tip of his feet would. That could be a gun. It's Cybertronian. I don't know what any of this stuff does, but it's most likely a gun. So, overall, this is a really nice update to one of the toys from Cybertron that desperately needed an update. And honestly, he might be one of the best in Legacy. Like, he does everything so smooth and effortlessly. Both modes look really cool. There's a nice amount of play features. Like, if you're looking for one toy, possibly go for Starscream or one of the inevitable repaints, because please, please, please give us more. Like, the two most desired repaint both Starscreams after G1 are Armada and Cybertron, and we have yet to receive anything for any of them. I think there may have been writing about a Skywarp. I'm not sure. But this guy is very cool. And I think you should get one. Until next time, I've got a jet. I've been told I get to test the space bridge. Keep it weird. Bye.